Welcome to the deep dive. If you're navigating, current affairs for exams like UPSC or just trying to keep up with India's economy, well, understanding big legislative changes is pretty crucial. Today, we're tackling a really significant one. The Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Amendment Bill, 2025. It just got the green light from the Rajya Sabha.
That's right. And this isn't just fiddling around the edges. It's a major amendment to the old 1957 Act, the big idea, really unlocking India's mineral resources, especially those critical and often deep-seated minerals that we need for, well, everything from green energy to defense.
Right. So for anyone preparing for exams or just needing a clear picture, let's unpack this. What are the actual, nuts and bolts changes in this bill?
Okay, first big one, expanded rights for existing leases. If you hold a lease, you can now apply to mine other minerals you find in that same area.
Other minerals, like anything.
Well, here's the kicker for critical stuff. For 24 specific critical and strategic minerals, think lithium, cobalt, graphite, even gold and silver, you can add them to your lease without paying extra.
No extra payment. Okay, that definitely lowers the risk for finding those vital minerals.
Exactly. It's a direct incentive.
You mentioned deep-seated minerals. That sounds challenging. What's the bill do there?
Yeah, challenging and expensive. We're talking over 200 meters down. So to encourage companies to take the plunge, the bill offers a carrot,
A carrot.
a one-time extension of their leased area. It's up to 10% more land for a standard mining lease and up to 30% more for a composite license. That's the one that includes exploration too, so higher risk, bigger incentive.
Okay, makes sense. More risk, potentially more reward in terms of area. What about mines already operating? Captive mines, for instance. Any changes to how they sell minerals?
Oh, this is a huge change. Previously, captive mines, the ones that mainly supply their own factory or plant, could only sell up to 50% of their surplus minerals on the open market.
Right, I remember that limit.
Well, that limit's gone, completely removed. Now they can sell 100% of their surplus production.
Yeah.
Whatever they don't need themselves, they can sell freely.
Wow, 100%. That could really shake up the domestic market, couldn't it? Putting a lot more supply out there, potentially.
It unlocks a lot of mineral wealth that was sort of restricted before.
Okay, so that covers using existing mines and going deeper. But finding new deposits, what about exploration?
Exploration gets a boost too. The National Mineral Exploration Trust, NMET. It's got a new name, National Mineral Exploration and Development Trust.
Development. So not just finding minerals, but helping get mines started.
Precisely. The scope is water, and interestingly, its funds can now be used for exploration offshore, even outside India.
Outside India, that's strategic.
Very. Plus, the money going into this trust is increasing. Leaseholders will now contribute 3% of their royalty, up from 2%.
More funding, wider scope. Okay. And the last big change you mentioned, something about markets.
Yes, the introduction of a mineral exchange. Think of it like a stock exchange, but for minerals. It'll be a regulated electronic platform. The goal is transparent trading, better price discovery, finding the real market price, and hopefully cutting down on manipulation.
A regulated exchange. That sounds like a pretty major market reform. So if we tie all these threads together, the leases, the deep mining, captive sales, exploration, the exchange, what's the big picture? Why does this all matter?
Well, it boils down to a few key strategic goals. First, mineral security. Boosting domestic production of critical minerals is vital for, renewable energy, EV batteries, defense, electronics, reducing our import reliance.
Self-reliance, basically.
Exactly. Second, it's about attracting investment. By making exploration less risky and freeing up sales, the hope is to bring in more private money, foreign investment, and crucially, advance mining technology.
And the transparency from the exchange helps there too, I imagine.
Definitely. That links to the third point, promoting transparency and efficiency through that market-driven pricing. And fourth, that expanded NMET role. It supports India's aim to acquire mineral assets overseas, working alongside efforts like Kabil. It's about securing resources globally, too.
It certainly paints a picture of ambition, boosting domestic production, attracting investment, securing global resources. But no major law comes without potential downsides or challenges, right? What are the concerns being raised?
That's a fair point. There are definite challenges. One big one is around federalism. Minerals are technically a state subject under the Constitution. So some worry this bill centralizes too much power with the central government, potentially reducing the state's authority over leases and, importantly, their revenue from mining.
Ah, the classic center-state tension point. What else?
Environmental impact is obviously a major concern. Encouraging more mining, especially deeper mining, could inevitably lead to issues like land degradation, water pollution, impacts on forests and biodiversity. That needs careful regulation.
Always a tough balance with resource extraction.
Always. And finally, there are implementation hurdles. Setting up and effectively regulating that new mineral exchange, for example, that's complex. It needs a really solid legal and tech framework to make sure it's fair and actually prevents the manipulation it aims to stop.
Right, the execution is key. So for our listeners, maybe you're wrestling with this for an exam or just trying to understand India's direction, what's the core takeaway?
I'd say this bill is a really significant policy shift. It clearly shows India's ambition for economic growth and particularly self-reliance in these critical sectors. But it also highlights those inherent trade-offs, economic goals versus federal principles and environmental protection. It's a real-world example of those balancing acts.
Absolutely, a complex picture. So as you think about this deep dive, maybe consider how these changes could actually reshape India's industry, its place in global supply chains over the next, say, 10 years. What really jumps out to you as the biggest potential impact, good or bad? Something to ponder.